This week on Fat Guy Squared, Anxiety Part 2, and Do We Need Drugs?
Balls.
Fat Guy Squared.
Wait, you're offended? Go fuck yourself. Listen to something else. For those of you who want to be entertained, here's the podcast.
Alrighty, folks. Guess who's back? So this week, we're going to be doing the follow-up, Stage 2, or
Hi.
Part 2. We are doing Anxiety Part 2.
Hi.
That's my child.
Hi.
So, with Anxiety Part 2, if you listen to Anxiety Part 1, we had a partial guest where we were flinging microphones back and forth. So this time, we actually have her on the podcast.
And
The Epic Lynn.
and guess what? She's gonna.
I got a real red wagon.
You just, every time, you have to do this.
I have to add something. Oh, jeez, that got real loud.
That was
didn't
really
it?
loud.
Holy shit! Sorry,
So-
folks.
Lynn is Pat's way better half.
Yeah. We're gonna have a little history lesson right here, folks.
Yeah, and the only we brought her on because
Test.
like last episode we talked about anxiety, and one thing about me is I have really, really bad anxiety. Found out me and Lynn have something in common. So
You both have very small penises.
I beg to differ.
Hers
she's
are
got me
power-
beat.
All right, so just a little history lesson here, folks. Lynn and I have been together for 24 years, give or take.
That poor soul.
We got together October of, and we've been together since. We got married 19 years ago after we had our first child. And Nathan's like to make noise here. Thanks a lot. We're trying to do a history lesson, you prick. And the entire time that we've been together, more so with the kids, really. The anxiety has been there, but I mean, maybe I'm wrong. It seems to be more so now that the kids were born and they were getting a little older, and we really didn't deal with it first, maybe 8-9 years that we were together.
Yeah, did you have anxiety in school?
I must have, but it was never diagnosed. It was more after I had my second one is when we noticed it more.
The other thing is that she had an issue with her thyroid, and that's when we really noticed that she was having all kinds of crazy like mental breakdowns and whatnot, and that definitely put a lot out there in terms of paying attention to it, kind of thing.
See, I never went to a doctor and
Okay.
got told that, hey, you have anxiety. But you could be blind, deaf, and dumb and still tell that I have anxiety based on how I change during certain situations.
Yeah.
But you're not on any meds or anything.
No, they'll give me, because I don't ask for them unless I'm like going on a trip or something like that, and then they'll go, oh, it's because you have a little anxiety about flying.
Now, do you find that you don't want to talk to a doctor because you don't want the stigma or whatever the case is?
Well, that's the thing. As I told you in Anxiety Part 1, that my family...
Is that what we're calling it?
Yeah, sure. My family was really against it. It was like, you don't have that. You just got to learn to deal with it. And it was frowned upon. So
That's how my dad is. He
Yeah.
doesn't understand it.
yeah, they don't allow... And it's just that age group. It wasn't a thing back then. And so...
Yeah, they usually beat it out of you.
Yeah. So when I remember my mother, how can I put it? My mother understood anxiety. because on her side of the family, there were people in the family that have it. She just didn't want me to be comatose by medication.
Also, folks, I want to put it out there. I want to apologize for saying that it was a learned thing. I've since found out that it's not. It's more genes related. In the first part, I said, you learned it from your mom and your dad or whatever. I want to apologize right now saying that it is not the case, and I apologize.
But I will give you a little something with that, though, a little credit to it. And, Lynn, if I'm wrong, tell me. But from my experience, certain things that I may eat or drink can cause my anxiety to spike. Like a lot of caffeine for me or a lot of sugar, I will get anxious more.
No, I'm not doing. I haven't had caffeine since my thyroid. Like he said, my thyroid what really brought everything out. But
that thing controls a lot of shit, man.
I didn't know that.
No.
But as far as the learned part, I think some of the anxieties can be learned because, like, I'm afraid of spiders, so one of our kids is afraid of spiders.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like something like that. But that's more of a fear, but not necessarily anxiety, but more. It is genetic also.
Yeah. So I gotta say so for me, it was I didn't want to tell anybody. Going back to what you're saying, I didn't want to tell anybody because in my parents' eyes, it was kind of like, oh God,
the ugly stepchild of the house.
Yeah, and that's why I was comforted with my sister because I could talk to her about anything. And matter of fact, my father still to this day, he's like, we were talking about the trip to Vegas, and I was like, I'm gonna get some medication for the flight, and he's like, why? And I told him, and he's like, you got anxiety? He had no idea.
Yeah, but you got to understand something, ladies and gentlemen. Our family, Nathan and my family,
our
side. There's a lot of underlining things there that we don't want to talk about because it's really not our place to talk. But
yeah,
there's there's a lot of background there, a lot of baggage that has never been addressed. Has never been looked at, has never been, and it's directly related to a newer world, a newer lifestyle that he and I try to emphasize on, and these folks are all much older. I mean, the youngest one out of the group of them is like, 55 or something like that. So they're all a little special in their own right, but, we're not going to for or against it. It's just they never really addressed it.
Well, it's just like anything in this world. If you look at say buying a house, my father still thinks that I can go out and get a house for $140,000, and it's just like that.
Sure can.
Yeah,
if you burn it down first.
Like he has no concept that things have changed that much, and so that's just the difference in mentality. I'm not saying that. I think there is a little bit of an issue where doctors prescribe for everything.
Oh, yes.
Kids got this, and they're quick to just give pills. So I'm not denying that there is some issues with that. But on the same token, I do think, especially now at my age, that anxiety is a serious issue, no matter how old you are. And it can be very, probably going to use the word wrong, debilitating? Debilitating, yeah. Because it really fucks my day up.
Now let me ask both. I'm sorry, you were going to say what?
As far as the medication aspect, we tried just with our oldest because he didn't want any medication.
No, I was going to say this in the last one, but I didn't. So, because and you weren't down here, but I told a story about me being on Ritalin and having crazy anxiety and not learning well and so on and so forth.
Well, that would make anybody not want their kids on anything.
Well, the thing is the Ritalin switched on me, and I made it a point. I don't want to be a part of this shit anymore. So when it came down to my children, having the anxious feeling and the not, none of my kids really had issues with the learning outside of my youngest one. My oldest started to, at least it seemed like it was. I mean, he was just not paying attention.
When they were younger, they all had issues, but now the older ones are fine. But the aspect
look
of
at
when
their parents.
when you didn't want to put our oldest on medication, and then the doctor kind of told you that they monitor it better than they did when you were on it.
And the thing is that I'll openly say it now. I was dead set against every part of it at the onset, but looking at it now from the perspective of outside looking in, my kids are so much better for it now.
Yeah, I think there is a big gap, and it's probably based not only on age, but it's based on just bad experiences. Like, you know how I am. I'm like anti-marijuana.
Oh, yeah.
But it's because I had a bad experience when I was a kid, and I don't want anybody to go through that.
Well, you can't put it in your ass and expect it to work.
Yeah, would you like some Mio? No?
I don't
I'm
know
hooked
what
on
the fuck
Mio right
Mio
now.
is.
Mio, it's like a little fruit thing. Anyways, so
That's a different episode. Remember that. Nate and his little fruit thing.
A fruit for a fruit.
fruit for a fruit. The more you eat, the more you toot. So my thing about the anxiety medication stuff is you know what I do for a living.
Oh, yeah.
Sales is a big thing. Personality, flair. I can't afford for that to get ruined by taking medication.
But it wouldn't.
Okay. Would you, just talking to me, I'm a pediatric nurse.
Yes.
Okay. Would you know that I'm on medication? If you didn't know, could you sense that I was on medicine? Because a lot of people I work with don't know that I'm on medicine.
Well, see, here's the thing. I thought that in the past with you, that you were on a good amount of medication, but that was only because every time it's because every time I saw her, she was like falling asleep.
That's because I work third shift.
And I had to wrap my head around that concept because I don't know what that's like.
Working third shift?
It sucks.
You wake up when it's dark and go to bed when it's light. That's the difference.
Yeah, I couldn't do that.
Yeah, it's not easy.
It's a lifestyle that you either like or you don't, really.
So that was my thing. I didn't want to mess with that. But that's why I've always taken Ativan or something along those lines, because it's in and out of your system pretty quick.
Yeah, but you're still medicating yourself
Well,
without active. I mean, you understand what I mean by this is that you said you haven't seen a doctor. You don't have to. If you're okay with what you got, then more power to you.
If it works, it works.
But I would suggest, at the very least, getting the underlining what it could be.
Because if you get on a maintenance thing, you might not need that Ativan.
Yeah. You wouldn't even notice it, honestly.
Well, I don't care. This is going to sound really selfless. I don't care about the anxiety for me.
But how does it affect the relationship?
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't want my girlfriend to miss out on doing cool things because her boyfriend's a scaredy cat.
Well, let me explain something to you. And my wife's here, and she can either back me up or tell me I'm full of shit.
I'm hoping for part B.
Around the time that her thyroid was going crazy, we were honestly looking to get divorced.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
She was that crazy. And I told her, you need to now understand.
I was also working every weekend, and I babysat Monday through Friday.
I'm not discounting what you were going through. I am just strictly saying, in our lifestyle together, it was not a 50-50 world. It was Lynn's going fucking ballistic again for no apparent reason.
Well, no apparent reason as far as you're concerned.
No, but this is my point. I'm telling you from my perspective.
Yeah.
I would come home from whatever the hour was at that time. My shift has changed dramatically from one day to the next. And I would come home and I would expect, a reasonable lifestyle, and it was just chaos, chaos, chaos. It was always an argument.
Yeah, and you probably not. And tell me if I'm wrong, but I can imagine the kind of person you are, feeling not only helpless but retarded. You felt stupid, I'm sure.
I wasn't helpless. I was annoyed.
Yeah, he was more pissed off than anything. But like even the smallest thing, like if the kid spilt milk, it was like a catastrophe.
Yeah.
For you.
For me, it wasn't like, oh, the kid just spilt milk, let's wipe it up. No, it was like a full out thing.
Yeah.
From a thyroid.
It's not just the thyroid. And this is what I was trying to.
It's a chemical imbalance in the brain, also.
She was not under any kind of medication at the time. There was nothing happening. She was in the same boat you are as of right now.
Yeah.
She didn't go through the counseling. She didn't go through the whatever the case was. And I said to her, I was like, you have two choices. We can get divorced, and we'll try to sustain a lifestyle with the children, or you're going to go to counseling and you're going to whatever the case is. And it was because of the counseling and going to see a doctor, we then realized that she had a thyroid problem. And without that intervention, today she probably still wouldn't be on medication, or we wouldn't be together, or whatever the case is. But, I mean, it got to the point where, I mean, I'm not exaggerating, when we spent, 6-7 months without being in the same room.
Yeah, you slept on the couch, I slept in the bedroom.
And,
Of course she gets the bed, right?
well, the point, this is the shifts of whatnot I was working, but it didn't matter. We were together at that time to honestly, I was there to make sure my kids weren't getting hurt. And she was there because she wanted to make sure the kids were being taken care of, and we weren't there for each other.
Do you, Lynn, feel like you overanalyze things?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
All right, so
I don't, and that's where we counteract each other.
So it's funny that, I've gotten told that Amber sees that. She could say one thing, I don't know, whatever it is, and I'm going to analyze the shit out of that word.
Yep.
And I'm really trying my best not to do that. And for me, I always thought it was because of what I do for a living. So when a customer comes in and he's talking about a phone, as they're walking in, I'm looking at her purse, I'm looking at her jewelry, I'm looking at her hair, I'm figuring how much money she makes a year. I saw what kind of car she drove in, so I can factor in what phone I'm going to put. Like, this is how I work. That's how my brain works.
That's a little too much information for me. Personally, I'd go, what do you want?
But that's how I read people. I get to the point, like...
okay, if you didn't know me...
Yeah.
And I walked in with my car that I drive, what would you assume that I would want?
For a phone?
Whatever you're trying to sell me.
It would depend. I would, let's say,
jewelry-wise. Let's go with jewelry.
Jewelry-wise, nothing.
Oh, fuck you.
If I had to factor in something for you, maybe a watch. I could factor like one of those rubber gasket style bands.
That's yep. Okay, now when you look at her, if she were to walk in just like that, what do you think that she would want in terms of jewelry?
And jewelry, maybe like engagement ring style, maybe a solitaire or a 3-stone, something very classic, nothing over the top.
That's exactly what I have.
Oh,
okay. It's a 3-stone.
Yeah, I don't. You're classic. You're not over the top. You're not diva. You wear things because you like the style of them, not because of what it proves to somebody else.
Exactly.
Folks, this is literally Nathan reading us. That sucks.
Now, Nathan, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
With your anxiety, do you have any nervous tics or anything that you do? Or that somebody has said you do?
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, how would he know if he didn't really...
I can feel mine. Right now, mine's going like crazy. My nose is going like crazy.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, it took an act of Congress for this to happen, honestly. And I want to thank her profusely again and again and again to do this with us. I know it's just a podcast, but she, I'm gathering in her mind that this is going to the President of the United States and...
No, this is good.
It does my anxiety.
Yeah, but it's a good thing because it's like if you're afraid of heights, jumping out of a plane might work.
I ain't never fucking doing it.
And
no.
I ain't going near nope ropes.
But
snakes are bad.
You, for instance, would never go on a podcast. That's not something you do. But it's
Can't
probably
say that now.
But it's something easier because it's with two people that I'm pretty sure you trust me as well as your husband.
It's basically as having a conversation.
I'm not making it anything more than that.
Yeah.
And we would not put you on, especially the live one, because that would be a little over the top for you.
Yes, that would be.
But going to answer your question, there's a couple nervous tics I do, and there's a nervous saying that I always say. So you'll know when I'm getting there because I'll go, to be honest with you.
But you say that constantly.
Anxiety.
I have never noticed that.
Another thing,
are you anxious right now?
I'm always anxious.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Another thing you'll see me do is I'll do this. And I'll just start cracking my knuckles.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's cracking
As you
his
can't
knuckles.
see, I'm wringing my fingers in my shirt.
Yeah, or this. I found out this is called, it's called an Eve pose. I found that out.
What is an Eve pose?
Is when you're nervous, you go in this position, and your hand goes in front of your crotch.
Oh, my hands just go together. They're in my little pouch for my
Ladies and
sweatshirt.
gentlemen.
Like you're protecting yourself.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am literally sitting in the middle of these two, and
You're ping-ponging
it's
it.
quite literally.
Two anxieties don't make a right.
It looks like I'm looking at a tennis match.
But yeah, I do this too.
Yep.
And they both have sweatshirts on, and they're both literally sitting there twiddling their thumbs in their sweatshirts.
But the sweatshirt thing, that's a comfort.
No, again, folks, and I'm going to say it to you too. I don't I don't understand this. And I'm going to ask you both a question, and I want you both to answer it in your own time.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to give you a scenario.
You know what you should do? You should give us both pieces of paper and ask a question, and we'll write down the answer.
All right, you know what? That's actually a good idea.
See who's what. Wait,
And see
close.
if we do the same thing.
All right, so
We need pens.
Yeah, I have a pen for you right here. All right, so while they're writing down, here's a paper for you and a pen for you.
I need something hard to write on.
Uh,
And no, that doesn't count.
all right, I'm going to give you the. You know what? Actually, then I'll give you the notebook, and he can have the paper.
Yeah.
All right, here you go. All right, so I'm going to give you 3 different scenarios, and you guys can write each of them down.
Okay.
And we'll see where you stand. All right. So the first one is, I'm going to kind of go more towards what Nathan does for the first one, and then we'll go more towards what Lynn does for the second one.
Okay.
And the third one will just be a generalized thing, okay?
Okay.
Okay, the first one is you're going to purchase a car or a truck, whatever it is that you want to buy, doesn't matter. And you talk to a salesperson that's very, very pushy. What do you do? And while they're doing that, I'm going to sit here and tell you guys a little heartwarming tale about a worm that crawled up. Oh, no. Actually, folks, right now it is absolutely gorgeous out. It's a Sunday around lunchtime, and it is about 65 degrees. Second really warm day of this particular year for us. And it's absolutely gorgeous out. I mean, I'm staring at it right now. We're in a basement with windows that don't open, and I have a door that I have completely wide open. It's picturesque. It's nice. And then I have these 2 crazy motherfuckers on either side of me writing. It's very nice. All right, so Nathan's done. He had to win that argument.
Mine has 2 answers to the one question.
Okay,
Oh.
perfect. Doesn't matter. Oh, so Nathan got it done
Just
quick. But there's more substance to Lynn's.
Oh.
Oh, shit. All right, so the second one, as I said, is geared more towards Lynn. So your father ends up in the emergency room. Okay? He's there for some type of injury to his back. I don't know. Let's just use back. And they start using big words with you about particular processes that could happen and exactly what is going to happen, and the end result is negative. How do you handle that, and the second part of this, how do you tell it to your father, who is unconscious or doesn't understand or whatever the case is?
I was going to say, how do you mean I don't tell him he's there?
Well, he doesn't, and again, he doesn't understand the wording or whatever the case is, and they break it down to you in a more humanistic way, but he still doesn't understand.
Okay.
All right. So the next story I have. So yesterday, this is fun. I have 3 large dogs. Well, two large dogs and 1 small dog. I have a Great Dane, a Husky, and a little mixed breed.
You could literally just talk to yourself for hours, couldn't
Well,
you?
what am I going to fill it up with? What, are you done already?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck me, man. All right. She's still talking. So anyway,
She's talking.
I had to get the dogs a bath, and I got the Husky in the tub. Not an issue. I got the little mixed breed, picked his ass up. They picked his ass up, put him in a tub, got it done. And then the Great Dane. So my wife, the dog's scared of me for some reason. The dog's the size of me, and he's scared of me. So I go lock myself in a room. My wife and my youngest son get him in the bathroom.
Which is a feat in itself.
She's done. Do you want to ask the next question so you can finish up the story?
All right, yeah, okay. So, and then the last question. You walk into a busy restaurant, brand new to you. You've never been there. It's overly busy, and it's a set menu. You can't choose between. So think of like Valentine's Day, and you walk in for it's actually a good idea. It's Valentine's Day. Your significant other brings you to a restaurant you've never been to. You cannot choose anything off the menu except for what the set menu is, and you have to act like you enjoy yourself. How do you handle that situation?
Question is there something on the set menu that we like?
You know what? It is what it is. It's whatever the set menu is. You don't get a menu. You just sit down and they bring it to you. It's a 5-course meal. Here we go.
You lost me right there.
I'm just explaining to you. How do you, first off, explain to your...
I like places that give us a spork.
Me too.
Judging by the size of you, you're not wrong. Anyway, so the first thing is, how do you explain to your significant other the places that you like to eat, the types of food that come out, how do you deal with it?
How long have I been with this person?
It's Valentine's Day. It doesn't really matter.
Oh, it does.
Okay.
Yes, it does.
You know what? You've been 2 years with Amber, 20 years. Let's cut it in the middle.
Okay.
Let's do 12 years.
Okay.
12 years together. So enough time where the person should know you, but they're trying to do something new and exciting.
Tell us more about that dog story.
Anyway, so my wife and my youngest son bring the Great Dane into the bathroom because we can't do it outside. It's still very wet in my backyard. So what's the point of giving him a bath and then just getting him dirty again? So we get him in. They get him in there. I come in behind him, and the dog weighs about 800 pounds now because he has imaginary weight that he places himself. It's fucking dog's massive. I pick up the front end of him, and I have him in a chokehold. He's sitting there going, "Arr, arr, arr." I get him in the tub, the front end of him in the tub.
He's so big.
The back end of him, we try to pick him up. My youngest son picks him up with me. We get him in. Now, I understand. I have him by where his balls would be because I'm stuck that way. My youngest son has his hindquarters, and I'm stuck lifting him up by his dick, for lack of a better terminology, putting him in the tub, and then my hand got stuck because he sat down. So,
and then you made our youngest son get in the tub with him.
So he stayed in there. He's like,
I can picture, get in the tub.
That's exactly what he said.
Exactly what. Get in the fucking tub. He takes his pants off. He sits there. He's got his boxers on with the shirt, and I'm stuck under him with my hand on his dick. And I go,
the dog.
Yeah. So every other dog in my house took about 15 minutes total. To get him in the tub, not even giving him a bath, took about 20 minutes.
That's ridiculous.
And then when we got him in there, he refused to move.
That's ridiculous.
So that, and by the time we were done, the entire bathroom was soaked. Fucking dog's stupid. We should kill him. Anyway,
you don't belong in
all
here.
right, folks, we are done. Everybody's done writing.
Yes.
Nathan has all of a quarter page, and so does my wife. Okay, so the first question was, you are going to buy a new vehicle. Doesn't matter the kind of vehicle. The dealer that you're dealing with is very pushy, very arrogant, trying to sell you on something. How do you deal with it? Being that Lynn is a guest, she can go choose which one she wants to do first. You want to go first or second?
I'll go first.
Okay.
In paper and in theory, I would like to try to leave, but then I would probably cower in person.
Really? Now, would you try? Would you? At what point do you generally break? At that point, I mean, is that something that you would do or no?
If he was too pushy, I don't know. I honestly don't know. Like I said, on paper, I like to come off like a badass, so I think I would leave. But in person, I don't like to hurt people's feelings.
Yeah, it's a good answer. Okay. What about yourself?
So, being in the field, but still having anxiety, I'd be sick to my stomach. I'd probably get a little sweaty, and I'd either do one of two situations. I'd either walk out completely and just bounce because I'd be pissed.
Would you have the ability to walk out, though?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I could easily do that. Or the second side of things, because I'm a salesman, if you remember me telling you the story about the therapist, when I overanalyzed the therapist that I went to.
Okay.
Same idea.
Okay.
I sometimes get into that where I overanalyze the salesman to make them look dumb.
Okay, so neither of you would ever, in just that one answer, neither of you I've heard really go back at the person selling the car, about, trying to sell you the car. You'd both first, your flight.
I'm either going to make him feel shitty or I'm going to walk away.
But your flight aspect is always the first thing to come up, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that's fair. The second question I had was, you are at a hospital.
Yes.
Your parent, your father or your mother, whomever, I said your father, but it doesn't really matter, is passed out, back issue, whatever the case is, and you need to explain to that parent what is actually wrong, and it's a negative, whatever the case is. How do you deal with that, Nathan?
I'd be an emotional wreck. I would be on the phone with my sister and probably my girlfriend immediately, and I wouldn't be able to tell him.
You wouldn't be so. I mean, it doesn't matter the situation. He could have a hangnail, and you still couldn't tell him.
If it was something serious, I couldn't tell.
You couldn't at all.
No.
Now, what if you were the you were the only person to be able to explain it to him in layman's terms? You still couldn't do it.
Probably not.
No. Well, hey, it's a good answer. You know, it is what it is. What about yourself?
I would
Lynn.
simplify it in his terms because I would understand the medical, most likely the medical terminology,
Okay.
and not lie to him and tell him the truth no matter what.
So now in this particular instance, because you're more familiar with the grounds, you seem to have a much better handle on a situation, and you were all about it. So your anxiety really doesn't kick in that world.
It does, but I would have to overcome it because I would have to explain to him.
So you're more along the lines of you're going to overcome it because it's a family member, a loved one. It doesn't really matter. So
And inside, I'd be an emotional wreck.
So inside you would, but you can contain yourself because it's your family and you.
I would, but as soon as I walked out of the room, I would lose it.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, that's absolutely commendable. I mean, personally, what I would do as a person that doesn't have anxiety, in both situations, I actually should have done this. So the very first question, I would have told the guy to go fuck himself and walk away.
You know.
No, I literally, that's how I would have handled it. You can go fuck yourself. I'm not buying shit from you. And I wouldn't have gotten anxious or rude or anything like that. I would literally, well, I guess tell him to go fuck himself would be rude.
Yeah, that's pretty rude, dude.
Yeah, fuck him.
All right.
The second situation is I would get a better understanding of the situation.
Yeah.
I would ask her, my wife or whomever is there. I said, listen, and I've said this multiple times. Talk to me like I'm special needs.
But you're unconscious, and you said they were unconscious, so you can't.
Yeah.
No.
I'm in
But
my
if I'm the person that's not unconscious,
Oh, okay.
if I'm you,
Yes.
I'm saying this as if I were you. I would understand it. I would tell the person, just like what you said. I wouldn't get all upset about it because, unfortunately, it's not happening. Well, fortunately, it's not happening to me. But I want to be there to help them. You know what I mean? Show them that this is what's going to happen. And furthermore, I'd sit there and I'd say, "We're going to get through this. We're going to make this happen. We're going to fix the situation."
Yeah,
if
the way
possible."
the
But
way
you can't. The way you worded it, you can't fix the situation.
Yeah, the way you worded it for me was like I'm telling somebody they got 6 months to live.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but my point is I'm always going to try to make it a positive thing.
Yeah. You try telling somebody they got 6 months to
You
live in
got
a
six-
positive way.
You got
Yeah, but you make humor. You take humor out of the most. You put humor into the most worst situations, but most of the time it's
All right,
appropriate.
look, you got 6 months to live. It sucks. Let's make the most of it. I'm going to go on a leave of absence. We're going to go across America. We're going to do whatever the fuck we got to do. We're going to live this life, and we're going to do it right, and we're going to have a good time doing it. Let's get out of here.
I mean, I will agree.
That's how I would approach it.
Like there was a few times I remember we had a cookout. This I don't remember when it was,
Doesn't really matter.
but it doesn't matter. And I remember I was breaking down. It was when we gave the gift to my father, which was a picture for an anniversary gift.
Yep.
And I lost it. I was a wreck. And Pat, of course, he grabbed a hold of me. He hugged me. And while he's holding me, he's like, "Let it all out, you fucking fairy." But that's just how he is.
Yes.
He's making light of a situation because you don't know how to control it for me.
But my point is I don't have the anxiety level that you guys have. I don't ever look at everything from a negative standpoint.
And it's a good thing because it's people like you that can make the situation a little better for us.
Well, I mean, that's really what you need in your life.
Yeah.
And, you know, from what I'm hearing, your girlfriend's the same way.
Yeah, she has
sure.
anxiety, but she says she has anxiety. I haven't fucking seen it. It's bullshit.
All right, so the last and final question is you guys are at, I think I used Valentine's Day, right?
Yeah.
You're at a restaurant where you don't have a choice of the menu. You sit down wherever they put you, and you got to decipher how to tell the people and how you feel. And,
I think we put the same answers on
all
this
right,
one.
so who wants to go first? Because you both went first last time.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'll tell you how I would do it. I would eat the fucking food and have a good time.
No, you wouldn't because you hate Valentine's Day.
I'd still eat the fucking food
So-
and have a good time.
First thing for me, if there was a way for me to not be in this situation at this restaurant, that would be the first step.
But why would you order? See, and that's
I would not go to a place where there was already set food.
Why? But I mean, if they purposely did something for you as a kind gesture, you would just tell them flat out, "No, I'm not doing it."
No. That's not what I'm saying, because I'm not an asshole.
Well,
But
I'm just trying to
But if
understand.
my girlfriend was planning something, she knows, because of my anxiety, she'll give me a heads up what kind of food, where it's exactly located.
Okay, you don't have that ability in this
So
scenario.
in this particular situation, when I get in there,
you have to be there. It doesn't matter.
so if I was in this situation, I was here, the first thing I'd do is I'd be looking for the bathroom. I'd be looking for the bathroom, and I'd be looking for the exit. I'd be sitting on the outside seat, which wouldn't matter because we're both together. And because I have to eat it, I would barely pick at the food.
All right, so the whole time you'd still be sitting there, crazy anxious and not really enjoying yourself.
I'd probably be looking at my watch to get out of there.
Really?
Yeah, bad.
So we'll get back to this because I wanted to ask you about the dating side of this. but
Oh, you can imagine.
Give me a minute. Lady friend.
All right. I wouldn't eat it.
Right there, high five.
You know that because when we went away that one night that we had, and we had that 5-course meal.
Yep.
Remember they gave, what was it, sorbet or something like that?
That's good, though.
I think I tried a tiny piece of it, and I was like, yeah, I don't like it. And then another part of the meal came out, and I didn't even touch it.
All right, but how is your anxiety acting up in that situation? Where I mean, obviously the seating is a thing for you. Are you trying to escape like him, or are you there in a minute?
I'm there, but then I'm also trying to figure out how the hell I'm going to eat next because I don't like any of the food that's coming out.
Okay, so
She wants Dorothy over there wants to click her heels and
I'm
bounce.
actually gonna,
Exactly.
I'm actually going to tell you the answer that my wife wouldn't tell you is that she'd ask for chicken fingers or a chicken palm of some sort.
Hamburger and fries.
ham-
It's because you'd ask for something you trust.
Yes.
Yeah.
In any kind of restaurant that we go to, and it doesn't. She's gotten better at this. Honestly, back in the day, it was impossible to get her to do things. Now that when we go to restaurants, that I make it a point to find a place that offers a chicken parm, or offers a hamburger, or they offer something very basic along those lines, and I can do whatever the fuck I want to eat, and she'll just get that one thing.
Sure.
But in every single one of these situations, outside of where you're super comfortable with, like for you, the dealership, you were comfortable. You were
I was
not
comfortable enough that I could flip it.
exactly. Whereas she would just shut down, and the exact opposite is, again, you'd shut down when it came to a family member.
Of course.
Where she would deal with it and then shut down.
Yeah.
You guys, and this is the point, it's definitely a learned thing in the aspect of if you're comfortable in it, you're able to deal with it better.
Yeah, it's not the subject of anxiety isn't a learned thing.
No.
But the coping of it.
That's what
Yes.
I'm sorry, I said it wrong. The learned thing is where you're more comfortable with a particular situation.
Yes.
That's where a lot of the time the CBT, the cognitive behavioral therapy, comes into play because they teach you the aspects of how to deal with your anxieties and how to kind of overcome them in certain situations.
Yeah. So, and this is the next question I wanted to ask. Now, you say in the situations of dealing with going to the restaurant, that's a great setup for the next segment I wanted to talk about. Now, you have a lady friend. You guys are very happy. I get that.
It's hell.
When you were actively dating, now my wife and I have been together for, as I said, 24 years. When you were actively dating, the concept of meeting somebody and that must have came in and just destroyed you.
So, as you know, with the dating apps,
Yeah.
right? Because, Lord, me meeting somebody at a restaurant was insane. That's not happening. So, dating apps, I didn't do them. I had 7 apps. I had them all I had, accounts created for all of them, and I gave them to my friends to do. That's God's honest truth.
Yeah, what happens if you had dickhead friends, though?
There's the thing. They'll be dickheads and they'll like swipe right on like a tranny, or like a 500-pound chick. But like for instance, Amber, that was the only one.
Was she on the dating app?
Yeah.
Oh, she was.
I
Okay.
met her on Hinge, and that one I did message, and I remember I thought I was like, she's out of my league.
I got you.
And
you're right.
She is. And she messaged me back, and so we talked from Valentine's for like 2 weeks. We texted back and forth. She wouldn't even talk on the phone.
I got you.
And then it got to the point where I was like, I need to talk to her on the phone because this could be a dude. Like, I don't fucking know.
No. My name is
So
Amber.
we knew we were going on a date.
Catfish.
Yeah, and she told me the restaurant we were going to eat at, and I was going to meet her there. The day before, I went to the restaurant. She doesn't know this.
Well, now she does.
Now she does.
Yes. Oops. She doesn't know I went to the restaurant because I was freaking out. Went to the restaurant, checked out the menu.
Now, were you freaking out because of the restaurant, or were you freaking out because of the date?
I was freaking out because of the restaurant.
Oh, I got you.
Wow,
that is really deep, man. That's
Like, I knew I was going to be nervous with her. I knew that already because I don't know her. And I'm meeting her for the first time in person.
I'm just saying that the restaurant thing is what fucks me up. I'm not going to lie to you.
But it's in Providence.
I got
I've
you.
never been there. I don't know what kind of food. I saw the menu. It was high-end pizza stuff. So I was like, okay, it's a bar, restaurant scene. Oh, my God, there's going to be a lot of people there. It's going to be loud. I can't deal with it being too loud. What if people are touchy? Do we have to stand? Or are we sitting down? Is there alcohol? Does she drink? I don't know if she drinks. I don't want to be around somebody who's drink. This is how my brain
All right,
works.
just give me 1 second. Do you do exactly that for situations like this?
Yes, because I don't like it loud.
That I
And
understand.
you know, you have to find, if we're going to a restaurant, especially you want to try, we have to look at the menu to see what's there.
Yeah, but you're not as anal retentive about the food, so to speak. All right, so here's another question I have for both of you. Have you ever had Indian?
I won't go.
You won't go to an Indian restaurant. What about yourself?
No.
Now, why won't you go?
Because everything I've heard and the smells and the different
Yes.
tastes and seasonings, I know I'm gonna fuck up. It's gonna fuck me up.
But you've never.
I don't care.
You've never been. No, I'm asking. I'm asking. You've never been to a place like that. You've never tried that type of food. What makes you think you wouldn't enjoy it?
Put it this way.
If I were to get Indian takeout, bring it home to a place that you're comfortable with, would you then try it? Or
If I knew I wasn't working then the following day.
I wouldn't.
you wouldn't try it at all.
Nope.
And I tried to push the bill with Lynn in terms of going to other places with the
Because
foods
my
that she
girlfriend's,
likes.
it's funny because my girlfriend's hardcore Indian. She loves Indian
I
food.
like Indian food.
And she knows. She's like, well, I guess I'm just done going to Indian restaurants.
I'm telling you, man, don't ever lose that girl, because
Yeah. But so
But I'm with him with the smells. I smell all my food. You know that.
well, no, I'm not knocking the smell. I'm just saying, okay, so
The smells would turn me off.
certain foods, like Chinese food in general, some people don't like the smell, but they love the food, and vice versa. They love the smell, but hate the food.
So the reason why on here I put that I look for the bathroom
Yeah.
is because I'm worried that every single thing may make me sick in a restaurant.
But you never give it a chance.
No, but even like when I went to Ichigo Ichi, and I knew what I was getting hibachi. They're cooking it in front of me. That's why I could deal with it. Is because
I'm
they're
so confused. And
I
again,
was so all right. So I don't like to go to many Asian restaurants.
okay. You
Okay.
racist fuck.
No, I'm not. I love their food. I
I'm
love
kidding, dude.
sushi. But the problem is like I worry about what's in the back. Like, is there bugs back there? Is there cockroaches? Is this, that? Do they keep their food up to date?
That's extra protein,
So
sir.
with them cooking in front of me, I can cope with that. Sushi, I love sushi. But every time I eat sushi, I have to mentally check it in my head. Okay, the fish is fine. It's not like they've had it a week old. It's not like that's how I have to do things.
See,
But-
folks, I want to stress to you very, very much that I understand they have anxiety. I get it. But I also want to put it out there that as a person who doesn't have it, and maybe yourself, you don't have it,
Yeah, we probably look like psychos.
the stress
Yeah.
is, well, the thing is, in my point of view, what you just said is fucking nuts.
So
And again, I'm not knocking the fact that I guess it's a stress related and anxiety related thing, and I would never discount that for you. I understand for you, but me as a person, I would walk into a restaurant, and if it looks okay, I would not worry about it. There are certain restaurants that I have physically worked at that I refuse to go to because I know it's disgusting.
So when we went to that restaurant that for our first date, after
Yeah.
I looked through everything,
Yeah.
and found the parking, found out where I can park, found out where the entrance is, where I'm going to meet her, what the menu is, all that stuff.
See, and that right there alone sounds so mentally tasking to me. I would not.
But why do you think when I need to go somewhere that I don't know where, I always like to go there first?
Don't get me wrong. You've instilled in me that we need to arrive somewhere 25 minutes ahead of time.
But also, if I don't know where I'm going, I need to go there the night before to find out, to make sure that I'm there. Like, I know where I'm going. I know where to find the parking because I don't want to be late or whatever.
But again, I mean, in those situations, it's generally related to some type of medical thing or whatever the case is, where I understand that.
No, even if I'm going out, like if I'm meeting girls from work somewhere, like the first time I went to the Cheesecake Factory, you had to bring me to the mall. A, so I knew how to get there. B, so I knew where I could park so I could be there on time. Like, that's just stuff.
So, also, wrap your head. You know I can eat.
Oh, without a doubt.
So we went there, and we ordered a pizza. Now, what you need to know, this is going to make you go bonkers. I didn't eat that whole day.
Oh, so you were hungry at the time.
I was hungry. I didn't eat all day, though, because I didn't want something I ate during the day to possibly fuck up my stomach and not be able to make it for the day.
Yeah, but I mean, again, in your situation, you've always had stomach problems.
Got there. We ordered pizza for the both of us.
Oh, yeah.
I had 2 slices because I didn't want to overdo it and then possibly have stomach issues.
See, I would have eaten the whole fucking pie in front of her.
Then when we left there, she says to me, and she knows it now. She knew it by 2 weeks into the relationship because I finally told her. That night, after we left there, she goes, "Babe, why don't we go for dessert?" I was like, "Okay. Well, we can go for dessert," which is great because in my head, I'm like, sweet, she wants the date to keep going.
Oh, yeah.
But I wasn't prepared. I didn't know there was dessert. I didn't know where. She wanted to go on Federal Hill. I could not wrap my head. She's like, "Do you mind driving?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like shaking, going down Federal Hill, looking for the restaurant. I see the restaurant, and then that's when she'll tell you, my face turned pale. I was nauseous as all hell. The line for the dessert place was out the door. There was no parking.
What exactly was the scenario that was the issue, though?
Everything that I was I wasn't ready for mentally.
I don't do spontaneity.
Yeah.
I do not do spontaneity. You want to go to the drive-in. I have to be prepared the night before because I need to know we need to have snacks. We need to have drinks. We need to have all that stuff before we go. Like, I can't just get up in the morning and be like, "Oh, I'm going to go to the beach today." I have to be ready the night before.
I'm going to be honest with you folks. I've never thought outside. You know what? I'm so used to the lifestyle that I have. Listening to this, I'm looking back at all the shit that I've had to do to offset her anxiety. And I'm like, it's taxing.
I remember,
Jesus Christ.
we went around the block looking for a spot to park.
And you were hoping and praying that there wasn't one.
And we went 3 laps. And on the 4th lap, the heavens opened up and I grew some balls. And I was like, "You sure we couldn't go somewhere else?" And she's like, "Yeah, do you know anywhere?" I knew Greg's. I've been to Greg's. I know where it is. There's always parking. There's never a line. She goes, "Yeah, we can go to Greg's." I was like, "Good. We got this." I got to Greg's. We sat down. No word of a lie. Sat down. She goes, "You okay?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I'm great." I said, "I just got to go to the bathroom." Went to the bathroom. Dude, diarrhea. I was so nervous.
Yeah, but are you nervous because of the date, or are you nervous because of what occurred prior to it?
Well, that was because of being worked up to a frenzy looking for this.
See, I wouldn't have ate because my nerves would have been so bad. When I'm nervous, I don't eat.
But I had to because she wanted dessert and I'd look like an idiot.
So let me ask you in this imaginary scenario, Lynn. If we weren't together, how would you do the dating thing? Would you have some... Well, she would have to, honestly.
I don't know because I've been with you since I was 15 years old.
I mean, would you be more of the person to have somebody set you up, or would you be more of the person to be open, looking on the dating apps and blah, blah, blah? Now, as a woman, I'm gathering it's a lot harder.
I honestly don't know. I feel bad for my friends that have to date because I never had to do that.
I can put money on it. I know I don't know Lynn as well as you, but I would put money on if that situation was to arise. she would not go out of her way. It would have to be that either somebody talked to her or somebody introduced themselves to her, because she couldn't handle the dating scene right now. She could not. I'm telling you. And I'm not trying to be
No,
offensive.
I say that personally. I say that.
My brother-in-law, my sister say it all the time. We would not. We could
I mean,
not make it.
but you got to understand, she's, and I'm not knocking your age, but you're now considered an older person. So the dating scene is going to be completely different for an older person. No, same shit.
Same shit, unless you're a drinker.
But the other thing was, I wouldn't want to meet my new boyfriend or whatever at like a bar, because are they at the bar because they want to meet women, or are they bar because they're drinkers?
Yeah, you might. I think
it's an overthinking thing, but again, it's
I think you would probably, because you have friends that are in the dating scene, you would probably put yourself in a situation where maybe you do like a dating app like Bumble, where
see, I don't know what any of these are.
Where you have complete control of the situation, where a million guys can like you, but they can't message you. You have to message them first because you're the woman.
That would probably be something I would have to do.
You see, now, again, wow, we already had an hour. Holy shit. How you doing over here? You okay with it? How about you?
I'm good.
All right, so
I'm glad she's overcoming her,
I
this
would
whole
love,
thing.
Honestly, I would love to have had your girlfriend here to get the different aspect of somebody like myself.
Oh yeah,
Because
It would be nice to see somebody else, because I just see how he deals with it.
I mean, I can already tell you, if she was here right now, she'd be like, oh, "You have no idea." But then she'd
well,
go
you guys
into
are
her.
still new, though. You know what I mean? It's not. You got to understand that we've been together for 20 plus years. So her idiosyncrasies and her whatever they are just something I'm used to.
Well, she even sees it like.
Like, I would love to ask her about your old man. And not to say anything good, bad about it, but I know your old man has anxiety, has issues with that.
He never used to.
Well, again, it's life.
Yeah.
Life happens. You
Yeah.
know, I'm sure in time it'll come back and bite me in the nuts, too.
Yeah.
But I would love to see how you deal with your old man with the anxiety side of it. I mean, you've been dealing with it for years.
Yeah, no, so I can tell you firsthand, because we witnessed it the other day, where I had to take a step back because I was having a debate with my father, and I realized I have zero patience for him.
Well, I mean, it's just because he's your old man. But
No, I have zero patience for ignorance, and it aggravates me more because he's my father, and I feel he should know certain things because he's my father.
in terms of what now? I'm just trying to understand what you're saying.
For instance,
Like, are you talking about your anxiety? Or
he
you
had an
talking...
Amazon Prime account, and he's never been on Amazon. He signed himself up for it, forgot that he signed himself up for it, didn't put his email address in there because he forgot the email address he put it in for. And
Well, I
so
mean, that's
he's
just-
like, fix this.
That's just being an older person.
Sure. So I fixed the situation, and I snapped. So I snapped on him, I snapped on my girlfriend, and I just walked away from the situation.
All right, so I can honestly tell you that my wife has those situations, those moments where the smallest thing will set me off because I expect her to be better at a particular thing. I expect maybe like, all right, like you brought up the thing going to driving to a place that we've never been to, whatever the case is. But we've been to a place next to the place. You know what I mean? Okay, so the Providence Place Mall, which is a primary mall in Providence. Hey, so in that particular situation, Federal Hill is a street away, for lack of a better terminology, to the Providence Place Mall. So I would say something like, oh, you're going to Federal Hill for this particular reason. Oh, it's right next to the Providence Place Mall. Just go. Instead of going down, you got to go up. And
She's not understanding.
Her world is, I'm going to get lost. I can't do this. And I would get annoyed.
Yeah.
I would get completely annoyed at the situation, and I would get frustrated and pissed off because, you should already know this. I don't know why you don't fucking know this.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Sure.
But hearing you talk about it, now I understand. It's more I know I'm going to be there. I know I'm going to do well. I know it's going to be this. But it's more, I need to be secure in the situation before I make that leap, even though it's such a small leap.
Yeah, I think that
But to you, it seems like a small leap. But to me, it's a major leap.
But I mean, in the world of worlds, it's a small leap.
But in the world of anxiety, it's not.
So we'll just use a restaurant for example. You know that if we're in, say, Cheesecake Factory,
All right.
you know that there's not going to be a terrorist attack in a Cheesecake Factory.
There might be.
You know that they're probably not going to give you food poisoning. You know
Well, actually,
that
that's probably where you would get food poisoning.
you know that there's not going to be plumbing issues and the place is going to flood or any of those things. In an anxiety person's head, those situations plus another 200 million situations I've already went through.
Can be completely real to you.
Yeah.
All right, folks, we're going to end this, and we're going to do one last
I want to say one
podcast.
thing though. You have a little bit of anxiety.
Wait.
No.
I want you to
No.
put it at the very beginning of the next one.
No, I think you have
Okay.
anxiety. I'm talking.
This is great.
I think you have a bit of anxiety because you make a situation where you're uncomfortable. You always have to make a crack.
You're right. And we will continue that conversation at the very next podcast, and we will end this one.
Good, I gotta pee.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. We will do a part 3, and we'll see you in a little while. Bye.
Get him, Lynn. Get him.
Hey, folks, that was the show. Now here's the routine. Nate?
You can reach us over at fatguysquared@gmail.com. You can watch us on YouTube and Twitch. Hit us up on Facebook and Twitter. And, of course, like and subscribe to us on podbean.com, iTunes, and Android.
Take it easy.